Son here, and welcome to my channel. This blues lesson is about chord building. It's not so much about what the chords are called, but more like why they're called so and so. And the first thing you want to determine if you have a song is what key it's in. You have maybe some guitars playing. And you want to determine what key it's in. Now, with most blues chords are the so-called dominant chords, so you can try to determine what key you are in with just moving chords up chromatic until you reach the note that you hear. You have this in your ears now, and here is definitely not an E7. It's not an F7. You just move chromatic up, and voila, you can see this is the chord. So it's a C, and you can hear it's not this one. It's not this one. It's this one. That's a quite easy way. The other way around is if you listen to the bass player in a band, he will very often play the root note. So he will play the C if you are in a C chord. It's not always like that, but it's very often. Okay, let's take the first example. Or I have to say, in order to analyze these things, you just need a C to be able to play a C major scale. Now I will zoom in and I will show you this scale, and then I will show you all the examples. The examples are also on tabs, so you can go on tabs and relax a little bit and find out about the chords. But again, this is a lesson about why they are called like they are. It's not how the shapes are. Okay, in order to build or analyze chords, you need to know the C scale, or you need to know the straight major scale. That's just a must. And I show you that one. Start in the 8th fret, 10th fret, 7th fret. Often I call them the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. And it moves up from here. Again, the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. Okay, let's take the first example. You have all the examples are on tab also, so you can move to that in a relaxed way and get into this afterwards. And you have the note here. The first one is obviously the 8th also. So this is the first again. You have the 10th fret here and the 4th string with the 3rd finger, and then symmetric. C triad, and then you take the top note, you put the 1st finger down over the 2 first strings here. So if you should analyze that, we go from the root here, the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd. Okay, you have the 3rd there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have the 5th here, and up in the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have the 8th up in the top. Now we want to move the top half note down. So we hit this one. Still the same with a little under fingering. So it's still a C triad. But now you have changed the top note. We're going down half step from the 8th down to the 7th note. So this 7th that is in the major scale is the chord, is this interval that you use to make a C major 7 You could also see a C, triangle, sign, and 7. So this chord is called a C major 7. The other one is just called a C. This one is called a C major 7. And now we want to move it half a step down again. So this was the 7th that you use for major 7. It's a major 7. So when you move that down a half step, then you have a flatted 7. And this flatted 7 is the one that you use for dominant 7 chords. So you just call this a C7. So now we actually have a C major 7 and a C7. Let's go to the second example. Here I have again the C triad, and now we move down from the 8th note up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this is the octave, and we move that down a half a step. So again you take a chord and you move the 8th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You move the 8th note down half a step, so we get down to the 7. And this straight 7 that you have in the major scale is the one that you use for major chords. So this one would be called a C major 7, or a C triangle. C triangle 7. And now we want to move it half a step down. It's a little difficult with this fingering, so I changed the fingering. So we have here the changes come. So the two other notes are still the same, it's just the bass that moves. So we have C triad, C7, no, C major 7, and C7. We can try to move it a little bit further down, so we also take the 6th, C major 7, C7, C6, because I go, notice these notes are the same, but it's the bass move. So we have C major 7, C7, here we are. I don't use that so often, so I hope you got that. It's easy to hear that it can be used really easily on music. Let's take the third example, and here I just use one of the most common bar chords, and we do the same thing here, or we could analyze it at first. We have the root, of course. Here we have the 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up here we have the octave. I can try to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have root, the 5th, the octave. Here we have this note. We start up here on the octave, or the first one in C, on the C. 1, 2, 3. So this case is the major 7, the major 3rd. And we have the 5th here. And we have the octave up on the top. So if you look upon it all, it's simply just a C. now we want to do the same thing as we did before. We take the octave here, the 8th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we move it down a half step. Before we have this one. You can go on the tabs to learn this, but now it's just a principle. Move that down half step, so now it's called a C major 7. We move it down half step more, so we have this movement. So we have a C major 7, C7, and we have a chord here, which is actually, we move it down to here, so that is the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The root, the 6 up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is a major 3rd. And this is the 5th in a C. So now we have a really nice, some nice chord connection. Really, the important thing is here that the only thing moving is this note. This is the 8th, major 7, the flattest 7th, and the 6th. So we have this movement. That's the important thing about it. Okay, let us move to the next example. I'll have to get. Oh yeah, it's down here. The root, the 5th. Okay. It's also convenient to be able to play the C scale down in this area, but now we have learned it down here. So this is a root, the 5th, and the octave. If you want that one is the major 3rd. We had the octave up here. Okay, now we want to make this movement again. So we want to have this note, which is the octave, moves half step down to the 7th. So we have clean C, and now the half step down from the 8th. And that one is a C major 7. Now we want to take that half step down again, so we change fingering. And this, now we have a C7. So we start with a pure C, C major 7. Sorry. I hope you can hear that. So now we have movement and here, pure C or clean C, just a C, plain C, C major 7 and C7 and C6, the root here, and the third, the major third. Okay, as said before, the dominant chords are the most common in blues music, more than the major chords. And here I'll show you a few in C that I really use a lot. So starting with the C7 that you probably know already. 8th fret and the first finger over the 4 first strings, and then the second finger over the 3rd string. And now I will, maybe I should analyze it. You have this note, which is you have the octave up here, or the root, and you go down half a step, you go down to the 7th, you go down half a step again, and you go down to the flattest 7th. So you have flattest 7th. You can see it's just like the C triad, except I take this bass note and put it down there. It was just as we had that before, the clean, the pure triad, the major 7, the 7 chord. So you have the flattest 7th here, the 3rd here, and the 5th up in the top. Here you can hear you have the C, which is a root. This is the 5th note. This one is a flattest 7th. Here. It's the major 3rd in the top. The next one, which I like a lot, here you have the major 3rd here in the bottom. You have the flattest 7th here, which makes it a 7 chord, dominant 7 chord. This is what's have to be the root, and this is a D, D, D. It's the 5th. This is the last one. It starts on with a 5th, and the root, and the major 3rd, and the flattest 7 up here. Try to sit and analyze these chords. You would learn really a lot about that, because you're forced to play the scales up and to find the chords. Oops, it's out of the scale. It's flat 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7th, flatted 7th. But these ones are some great chords. Okay, let's take a close look at the 9 chords. And first one is this one. I don't take I just take the 4 middle strings. You can take that one if you want. Let's try to analyze it. We have the root. third. Excuse me. This note. Octave. The raised 7 or the 7th and the flattest 7th here. So this is the flattest 7. This is the 7th note, and you go down and take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, flattest 7. And then we have this extra note up here, which is actually just the 2nd or the 9th or so. If you play up again, we go up 1 step from the 8th, we obviously enter the 9th note, so it's called a 9 chord because of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that's why it's called a 9 chord. And let's take the first example. Since we play this 9 chord first, and then we want to make it it's just called C9. Now we want to take a C major 9 chord. What do we have to do? Yes, we have to raise the flattest 7th here with a half step. We have the octave up here, the raised 7 or the sharp 7, and the flattest 7th here. So now we want to make the 9. Before we had this is the flattest 7th, we raise it half a step. That's a really nice chord. And the other example I show you is that instead of the 9, you flat the major 3rd chord, the major 3rd note. You flat that. So instead of playing a major 3rd, you play a minor 3rd. Here you have the root, the flatted 3rd, the flatted 7, and the 9 in the top. You simply move that. If you have this chord, you just move that finger half step down. So the 3 chords, 9, major 7, and minor 9. Great chords. And the last example, some descending chords. It comes up from here. I just move that up 12 frets. Another 9 here. Root, major 3rd, the flattest 7, and the 9th in the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's obviously the root. This is the major 3rd. This is the flattest 7. And this is the 2nd. So 9 chord, 9 chord, and 9 chord. You can try to analyze yourself the last ones.